Hello and welcome to our weekly look at Tiffin University basketball. It's Dragon Basketball Weekly on the road because it's conference tournament time. Everybody, I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons. To my right, head basketball coach Tom Church, and we have a three-seat panel today. Coach Church, why don't you introduce our other guest?
Yeah, my associate head coach, Desmond Ballantyne, and I have to say, it's a special day today. It's Des's 28th birthday, so we're going to celebrate with him on the show today.
I was going to say, sometimes you get on a charter bus, you head down to a basketball game. Sometimes you get on a charter bus and go to a birthday party. Today we did them both.
We get to do both.
We got to do them both. So happy birthday, Des. Welcome in, buddy. Thanks for joining us here on the program. So it's conference tournament time.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about it's 2 seasons. You got the regular season, you play your tail off to get an opportunity to compete in the conference tournament. And the Dragons come in, got to go on the road, face the number 1 seed in the conference tournament, but, you know, it's a job, and the job needs done. Let's talk a little about the preparation your kids have put in this week.
Well, it's funny that you said that about the conference tournament. I feel like our conference tournament almost started last week.
It did.
We've had a slogan, survive and advance, which I know a lot of teams use, but we actually started using that on Thursday because we had to have Thursday,
right,
as we talked about in the show last week. So we needed Thursday, and then we controlled our own fate with the game at Lake Erie. So our guys have kind of had that mentality where, lose and you go home. So we've kind of carried that through the conference tournament, and there's not much that separates between the 1 and 8 seeds.
No.
I think in our conference. So.
It's all eight good basketball teams.
Absolutely.
And Des and I were talking before we started recording the program. The emotional journey from, say, the Thursday morning, going through playing your game Thursday night game you guys had to have. You had to, recoup. They got you before. You had to have that one. Even that up. And then you look at everything after a Thursday night's action, think about it all day Friday, wake up Saturday morning and know what you got to do, and your guys' game is the 1 o'clock game. So I gave you guys a little bit of a different feel where you played your game and got a chance to see how everything else would work out. But talk a little bit about that emotional journey. That's a lot of emotions to go through from Thursday morning to Saturday night.
I mean, I think handling the pressure, that's the big thing we know, when you advance, lose, you go home. That we had that on Thursday and pretty much Saturday.
Right.
So the way that our guys handle the pressure moving into the conference tournament, I feel great because we've already handled that pressure.
Well, Thursday was a big game of Malone coming into town. Let's talk a bit about that game, Coach. And, Malone can be a thorn in your side. And we talked about it last week on the program. That team was as hot as anybody coming into that game when you guys played them. Talk a little bit about that Malone game and what your kids had to do to get that win.
I'll let Coach talk about that a little bit. Like I said, I mean, you're only as good as your players and your coaching staff. And I think that I've got both got the best in the league. So I'll let Coach talk about the Malone game a little bit.
Des, your kids had to put in the work, buddy. Talk about the work they put in to get to the game, and then talk about the game itself.
The week preparing for them, they were just dialed in. Like Coach said, the mindset had been survive and advance, and we started that on Monday as we prepped for Malone, keying in on some of their guys and focusing on some of their action. So I think starting earlier in that week, the guys bought into that mentality, and it really showed, especially on the defensive end. Like we were able to force some turnovers, able to score in the paint, able to get the ball to Josh and Wes and focus on mismatches and matchups that we really liked and we want to expose.
One of the first things you mentioned is turnovers. And at this time of the year, you better take care of the basketball and better make sure that you can take the basketball away from your opponents a little bit. And, having some upperclassmen handling that basketball for you probably, eases that pressure a little bit of making sure you take care of that basketball.
Oh, yeah. It's been a joy and a treat to have Morgan Taylor handling the ball at the point and running the show for us. And then, obviously we're an older group and we got a lot of guys with a lot of experience: Ian Lopez, Josh Rivers, Weston Jordan, Brandon Swaby, and then KJ Pruitt. He's came in and he's stepped up, and he's as old as some of our seniors. He's had a couple rough years injury-wise, but we feel like with the experience that we have at the point guard position, that our guys take care of the ball tremendously.
You mentioned Wesley's name. He's coming in here as the Great Midwest Athletic Conference Player of the Week, and I see you working. Not during scheduled practice time. I see you in there working in the gym a lot with a lot of the guys. And talk a little bit about some of the work you get to do one-on-one with some of the guys just in the gym.
Oh, it's a joy to work out with these guys and work them out and to really get them involved in game shots. You see a lot of guys want to come in and do like stuff that you see Steph Curry do. Wes, that's not you. Let's focus on all these 12 or 15 shots that we know you're going to get on the game, and let's just harp and pound at them. That way you build confidence and get ready to shoot these shots.
That's an interesting point that you bring up, that coach and player relationship, because everybody watches Sports Center.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see the logo threes, the drive baseline dunks, all that stuff. But sometimes it takes a guy like you to bring us back to reality. Let's talk about the things that you do on the floor that helps the Dragons win.
I think kind of like a yin and yang situation. I kind of try to keep everybody composed and under control. A big thing that we say as a coaching staff is next play mentality. We have a lot of guys that get caught up in the moment or caught up in themselves. If they miss a shot, they have so much pressure on themselves, and we just try to ease everybody's mind and focus on the next play, get to the next possession, worry about the next time down, not so much focusing on that one thing that kind of went wrong.
Coach, sure, talk about how important it is to have a guy like Dez as your right-hand man here.
Well, I mean, you look at my first few years here, and now you look at the last 2 years, and what's the common denominator is, obviously we've gotten some really good players, and that's a big part of it. But Coach Dez has come in, and I've said on the show before, the first time that we talked on the phone and had a conversation when my top assistant's position was open, I just kind of had this in the back of my head that he was going to be the guy. And like the way he handles the players for their workouts, and really the scouting report is huge, and Coach handles a lot of our defensive assignments. It really allows me to kind of focus on the offensive end, and really allows me to focus on the next play to where our players are still in the moment, and I'm worrying about the next play, making sure that we're going to get the ball and where the ball needs to go, and those are huge things for a head coach, things that I had to worry about in the past that I don't have to worry about now, and I can kind of limit my focus, to helping us win games.
Talk about your role game day, Des, because that's an interesting aspect of it as well. I mean, coach's focus is where it is, but I see him turning and talking to you quite a bit. Talk about your role in game day.
I'd always tell Coach, my job is to take away as much stress as possible for him. So I kind of, like Coach said, I focus on a lot of the defense stuff, defensive matchups, worry about a little bit of the subbing, and then we talk occasionally at timeouts, halftimes, obviously making our adjustments, and then he'll just throw some ideas at me, and I'll do the same to him and whatever we think, and then we'll go out there and try to execute it as best we can. But like I said, I try to take as much stress as I can off of him. I know the game's stressful, and that for me, I can only imagine for the head guy as well.
You imagine, I'm sure, Coach, a lot of times when you guys are kind of, like you said, throwing your ideas together, a lot of times his ideas are coming from a lot of the place where your ideas are coming from too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is in-game situational stuff, I mean, we're 28 games in. Like, our guys know where the ball needs to go, and our guys know where their shots need to come from and what their strengths are. A lot of it is, timeout situation, if a team goes on a run or we go on a run, or we haven't scored a few possessions, where we want to go with the ball, or maybe he sees something on the floor that I don't see, a specific set that may work, maybe positionally how they're guarding, things like that. So we're constantly communicating throughout the game, and and it's been big in these close games, and these games that we've had to win. It's been huge for us. So
and everybody sees the game different. What position did you play when you were playing in college?
I was a wing.
And what were you?
Point guard.
You're going to see the game totally different as a point guard and as a wing player. That's the beauty of it. You guys got the two vantage points. You put them together and come up with a good coaching vantage point. Let's talk a little bit about the game at Lake Erie now. So we got the win at Malone. Everybody played their games out on Thursday. Things were still up in the air come Saturday morning. By the time we went up to Lake Erie to Paynesville, and I tell you what, your kids just really took care of business on Saturday when they really had to, and got that win and kind of put it away. Took care of it.
Yeah, I mean, our focus was, Lake Erie was only a couple hours away, but we tried to do everything we could to get that win on Saturday, and that meant taking the team up there. I mean, it was great from an administrative standpoint. Kelly, our athletic director, she was like, "Hey, let's go up there. Let's get the guys rested," because it was a 1:00 start on Saturday.
And a quick turnaround. You played them a week and a half earlier.
Quick turnaround.
Not even a week earlier, I guess.
So it was great. I think that shows the players, obviously the importance of it, but that we're trying to do everything that we can as a staff to put them in position to win. So it was nice. We went up there Friday. We woke up refreshed on Saturday. Got over to the gym early. Didn't get off to the greatest of starts. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. But I'll tell you what, for the next 35 minutes after that 5-minute slow start was great for us. I mean, our guys were really, really dialed in. The thing that we had done, though, on Thursday is we put it in our hands.
Right.
We didn't have to rely on any other teams losing to get in or anything like that. We said we win and we're in, and our guys, they embraced it.
That's what I played ball.
They absolutely did. They absolutely did. And went from, a 2-point lead to a 6-point lead, I think it was at halftime. And then really in the second half, we just kind of turned it on, and the game never really got, any closer, I think, than what it was, maybe like 8 or 9 or something.
And really, I'm sure Lake Erie came to that game with a lot of confidence. Because they played really well when they came here.
It was their senior day. They were obviously dialed in from their start. And I think our guys just, again, they knew the importance of the game, and they made plays that they needed to play.
Des, was there a point in that game on Saturday we knew the guys had, okay, we got control of this ball game?
I think probably, I think it got off to, 11-2 to start the game, and I think maybe we got up 14-12, and I think just defensively it clicked. if we execute what we're trying to do defensively, there wasn't much like Gary could have done to that.
That's an assistant coach talking right there, right? Talking about the defense, trying to take things off of your plate. I love it. The interaction continues, right? As we get our way now into conference tournament play, as we're down here in Owensboro, Kentucky. The Dragons tomorrow taking on the Kentucky Wesleyan squad, and it's a unique start time in the middle of the afternoon. That's just scheduling because of facilities. Nothing we can do about that. But let's talk a little bit about what the Dragons got to do tomorrow to be successful in the conference tournament.
Well, I mean, I sure Coach would agree that like everything starts on the defensive end with us, and I think that's been one of the big changes within our program. One of the big changes, obviously, with me hiring Coach Des, but defensively, I think we were last or second to last in the league my first 2 years.
Right.
We were obviously more offensive minded, and we have completely flipped that to where now defensively we get teams kind of looking around like, hey, where's our scoring going to come from? Because defensively we've got a group that really clamped down, and they know how important it is for us to get stops. And I know Coach is probably going to mention this, but we held Kentucky Wesleyan at 59 points, I think it was, at our place, and that's their second lowest output of the year. So it all starts on the defensive end with us, where we gain our confidence to help us offensively to say like, hey, we can guard them if we do the little things. And now offensively we can maybe get a few easy buckets. We can have some of our defense create our offense.
Des, give me a couple guys on the defensive end you think could be real keys to the Dragons' success tomorrow.
Starting off probably at the helm would be KJ Pruitt. He's going to go a good point guard. He's been playing extremely well for him as of late.
Coach has been preaching his defensive efforts all year long.
Oh, yeah. He's been amazing for us. His size, his athleticism, and his IQ of the game, too. Just his tendencies. And
there's another point guard talking.
That's right. His IQ on the defensive end is exceptional. And then, obviously, some of the wing defenders, starting with Josh Rivers, who would be on the athletic wing. They got guys off the bench, Brandon Swaby, and then obviously down low, England, all would be Wesley Jordan. And he matches up against their game.
Right, you got to feel good going into it today, knowing that we got, we're not a bunch of freshmen coming in. We're not a bunch of 18-year-old kids. We got some grown blank men. Yeah. They're going to play basketball for the Tiffin Dragons tomorrow. It has to ease a little bit, knowing that maybe these guys have seen enough basketball that when you're telling them your game plan, it's soaking in. It's soaking in.
They've been in a lot of big games, and we talked a little bit about that on Sunday. And this is, last year, our first conference tournament appearance since we turned Division II. I think we took the guys out to a big dinner and celebration, and it was a celebration. This year's a little bit different. Like, we expect to be here. We expect to be here. Believe me, we were happy that we got in and all that, but we expected to be there. So a little bit more business-like, a little bit more workman-like mentality that we've seen out of our guys on Sunday, and I think that just comes from an older group. I mean, we've had guys that have played in some big games, so is the pressure a little bit off from last year? Maybe, but I think our guys understand where we're at, and I think that goes back to what we said earlier in the show, that the Thursday, Saturday was basically the start of our tournament.
Yeah, we talked about that last week in the program. If you don't take care of your business on Thursday and Saturday, we're just sitting at home wrapping up the season right now. And how does it feel to be at this point of the year already? I mean, it goes by fast for all of us, but you're a little younger than us, even though it's your birthday. You're catching up with us now. But boy, the time sure does fly by, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's what we talk about, is in the blink of an eye. We start in August, and, it's kind of a long season, and it's a grind, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, it does go by quick, and, you try to make the most of the memories with these guys. Having an older group of 7 seniors, it's a special group, and, we just try to seize the moment and be in the moment as much as we can be.
What's the thing you love about it that's outside of like the game day? Give me something that's behind the scenes, whether it's just an interaction with a kid about his grades or something's dealing with a score. It's just, talking to the guys. What's something you just love about it?
I think that just the relationship I build with these guys. Obviously, you just mentioned I'm a little younger, so, these guys I'm a little closer with them in age, and sometimes they feel a little bit more comfortable with me, talking to me about anything, whether it be relationship, music, what's hot in the world, so just that stuff, and joking around with them a lot. So that's one of the beautiful things about my job.
If you were a player on this team, where would your strengths help us?
I think maybe a little bit at the decision making, but Morgan Taylor does a great job with that. And then I would say on the defensive end, but also we got KJ Pruitt, so I'm not sure.
Do you miss playing?
No, not at all.
No? Coaching something you want to be a part of your life for a long time?
Yeah. My dad coached me when I was younger, and then right there, that just sparked an interest in me then.
Yeah. So what is it about the coaching? I mean, is it just the interaction? Is it the relationships that you're building and watching young men grow into men?
That, and then I think, probably 2 things that go into it. It's almost, we joke about it, it's like a drug. Like, you just get addicted to it. The rush of,
it's ball.
Exactly. The rush of winning, and then just the opportunity to help change a kid's life, I think is the biggest thing to me. You know, some of these kids come from, lower income, situations where they've never seen, outside of what they've known. I mean, never been on a plane. You got to take a chance. Took a trip to Florida this year. Some of them never seen the beach, and I think just that, when that really hits you, that's a special thing.
Well, you never probably were familiar with Tiffin before you came here. Talk a little bit about your experience with Coach Church and Tiffin University.
Oh, but like you said, I had really no experience of Tiffin University. I knew of the GMAC conference. Obviously, I grew up in Indiana, so I've heard of Finley and schools like that. And then Coach actually coached in my hometown, and that's how I got kind of connected with him. He coached at IUK in Kokomo, Indiana.
Right.
I think he had a really good year there, and then bounced out to go to Tiffin, and then I was down in San Antonio, played down there, was a GA down there in Carter University, and then Coach Church took a chance on me, and I think it's been pretty good since then.
Let's reverse that to you, Coach. Talk a bit about how Des first became on your radar, and talk about the relationship you guys have built.
Well, I knew his name from Kokomo, and then I had reached out to a couple coaches that knew the family, and I knew the family name obviously from Kokomo. So I think we had 90 to 100 applicants for the job. And, his name obviously stuck out. So we had a really good conversation on the phone. It wasn't forced by any means, you know what I mean? And obviously wanted to get a feel for him as far as what he was looking for as an assistant and what his strengths were. So after talking to some people, and then, our phone conversations became one and then a couple of times a week. And then, through the interview process, it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer. And, the hiring at the time, I had a couple people that had interviewed him on the campus, and they even said, "This is your guy," which I had already known. Awesome. So, it's been a great, fit, but it's like with the players and Coach Des, like it's family, and that's the biggest thing, like we love like hanging out with each other and coaching, and that's the biggest thing. That's what we try to show the players as well. Like I love having my kids around the players and Jen, around
first
the
to get 5 and a kid comes off the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the side of them that I want them to see, and
that needs to happen at this level.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just has to be. There has to be that atmosphere.
That's what makes, I think, that our program may be a little different from other programs, and that's what makes it special. Is you asked him what do you like? That's what I love most about it, is seeing my kids interact with them, and then seeing the success stories after they graduate from here and when they move on and they continue to call you and keep in contact with you, like we do with some of our earlier players, and then to obviously have the success that we're having, you want that for them, you want that for your coaching staff, because they work so hard for it,
You want them to win games when they're here, and you want them to win at life when they're done here. And it's huge that you see them do both, and that's a wonderful thing. All right, I'm going to give this vote to you guys here before we wrap up the program. We got the Great Midwest Athletic Conference Tournament right in front of us, getting started tomorrow. We know you got to take care of the basketball and limit the turnovers. You know you got to out-rebound the team. Give me a couple things else that we got to do to be victorious.
I know what you're going to say.
Defense?
No, I thought you. Well, maybe
Let's hear it.
I'm offensive. You go ahead.
I would say, limiting them in the paint. They got a really good post player. You got to try to limit him and contain some of the guard play as well.
Right, make it difficult for him in the paint.
Yeah, make him see a couple bodies. Make him get frustrated early.
No clean looks.
Yeah, make him pick up the ball. Make him have to look, make a pass, and see if they can.
Then make tough shots.
Exactly.
Right.
Contest every shot.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to make a few perimeter shots. I don't think we have to go crazy. We shot the ball extremely well the first time that we played them.
Right.
But I think we're just going to have to be able to
keep them honest.
Keep them honest. Have to hit a few perimeter shots, which I think will relax us a little bit. Because defensively, it's always been our calling card. I know that's going to be there, but I think if we're able to make a few perimeter shots, which then kind of gets Josh maybe some post touches, gets Wes some post touches where they can go one-on-one. I think that'll certainly help.
I think you'll take your kids that you got and you'll put them on the floor in a conference tournament situation, roll the dice, and say, "Let's go see what happens."
Absolutely,
let's go play.
Absolutely. We feel really good about where we're at. We know Kentucky Wesleyan's a great program, very well coached. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a great game.
And we get to play first.
And we get to play first.
And
everybody gets to sit and watch.
And then we can watch everybody else play on the way back.
We had to do that on Saturday with Lake Erie. We played a 1:00 game. We're all sitting around eating, watching everybody else's game. So yeah, it'll be nice with an early start, and then maybe we can see where we're at after that.
Now the important business to attend to. It's the 28th birthday that we had spoke about here for Des. So, any plans for you besides game planning tonight? Or are you going to hold off until the season's over and you'll celebrate a little bit later?
Hopefully, when we get back tomorrow night, we can celebrate.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. We played the early game, so we'll get back at a decent time. Maybe celebrate a little tomorrow night. after the win too.
It's always fun to celebrate a birthday, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's fun to celebrate both a birthday and a win. That would be great.
We'll take care of them both after we get on the bus tomorrow evening. Everybody be hooting and hollering, having a good time. We'll make sure everybody knows that we're still celebrating Doug's birthday too.
Appreciate that. That'd be great.
Dragons tip it off tomorrow on the Great Midwest Digital Network. They'll have the video at Kentucky Wesleyan. I'll have the radio call at WTUD, TUDragonRadio.com. So, any last words here before we wrap up the program? Let you get back to the kids. I know you got some more meetings to do tonight and everything. Still some more team bonding stuff. But anything else before we
I
wrap
think
up?
just letting everybody know that it's going to be 3:15 back home. It's going to be 2:15 Central Time Zone. And get on there and watch and support, and we're going to play our hardest, and it's probably going to come down to those last few possessions tomorrow, I believe so. So it's going to be a tight one.
Every time you say that, you're always like, I think it's going to be a tight game. You've been right on the button every time that you've said that.
When have we not played a tight game?
I know. I hear you.
So.
It's been a little bit up and down this year, but you know what? The ups have been a little bit more than the downs. So another great year for the Dragons, setting a single season wins record at the Division II level at Tiffin University. Hats off to you guys. I know all the work you guys put into getting these guys out there on the floor and put them at their best ability to bring home W's for the Tiffin University family. It's a lot of work you put into it, and I love it because I get to call wins, and I like that too. I like that a lot. They absolutely are. All right, we'll check in with you next week and see if we can talk about more Dragon basketball. So this has been Dragon Basketball Weekly. Happy birthday to Des.
Thank you.
Absolutely, buddy. Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely, thank you.
Let's do it tomorrow.
Sounds great.
This is Tiffin University Dragon Basketball Weekly here on your home of the Dragons.